So we're here to talk today a little bit more about the Endgame. As you all know, Rift is in beta right now, or open beta. We'll be launching in just a few days. So the most popular question we've been getting is, what do I do when I hit level 50? And we're going to give you a bit of a show of that today. So I've got my level 50 character here. We're out in Stillmore, which is one of our level 50 zones. And the first thing I'd like to show you is some of our raid content. We'll be starting with our 10-man group raid content, or raid rifts, as they're known. With Rift, we have a number of different raid opportunities for players at the end game. We have both 10-man content for smaller guilds and 20-man content for larger guilds. The important thing about a raid content is we wanted to make sure that all raid content was a little bit different and unique. We didn't want to offer necessarily the exact same instance for two different people with more hit points and more damage. So what we're trying to do is expand the offering and give 10-man raiders something a little bit more interesting and unique to the 10-man raid. Offer them their own challenges and their own things to do, and that takes the form of the Rift raids. So I'm going to go ahead and take a look around. Here in Stillmore, as with all of our high-level zones, there are a number of Rift raid tears. So we'll pop open our map real quick, take a look around. These are frequently up. Players should be able to find them very easy. When they find one of these tears, they can go ahead and craft a special raid opener. And what this does is allows them to open a Rift raid wherever they'd like at these specific tears and play through this content on demand. So this is a highly scripted event specialized for that group of players that can be spawned on demand at these various locations in the world. We're going to fly over there real quick using my special GM powers and take the quick fly, or maybe I should turn around because I'm going the wrong way. And we're going to go ahead and zip past Stillmore in high-speed glory. And this should be about right. So I'm going to lock back down here. And of course, in Rift, nothing is safe. So I'm going to go ahead, get attacked, and use GM cheaty powers to bypass that. So off in the distance here, you see our tear. And I'm going to go ahead and walk up to this and open up one of these raid encounters. The way that players get access to these raid encounters is, once again, building these planar lures. And what these lures are all about is, as they complete various high-end content in the game, our expert dungeons, our high-end outdoor events, and Rift content, you will get various components, which your group, or your raid, or your guild can go ahead and fuse together to make different types of Rift raids. Each one of these raids is a complete custom encounter for that raid. So we'll go ahead and crank this one open real quick. All right. And so for those of you who are familiar with Rifts, you know that, hey, the world changes around you. Obviously, I have the ever so popular life tentacle-y thing coming down from the sky. The lighting has changed. All the writhing plants are around me. But this is a little bit more than that. We actually change the world in more dramatic ways. We set up a stage for the players to not only experience the story, but play through this encounter content. So it allows people to kind of have a neat experience. Now, this is intended for 10 players. You can bring some more friends if you'd like. Other people can join and participate, but we've reserved this particular instance off for my group. So whatever I do, my group, or my raid, as the case may be, will get the rewards from this. So if other people see what's going on and come and help participate and help out, yeah, they'll get rewarded, but they're not going to take anything away from you. We don't want an outdoor event for a raid that has spent all this time gathering these materials and trying this challenge to be griefable and for them to lose their reward. So I'm going to go ahead and start the encounter. And as you can see, these are very much different than our regular rifts. Except for the fact that, this guy wants to attack me. So once again, GM cheaty powers away. And each one of the Rift raids tries to tell a story. In this particular one, this is the growth of the Alpha War. It's a story that basically you've pulled out this Duke, or this very powerful minion of the Plane of Life, on your way to defeat Prince Hylas and Greenscale, which we'll be showing in a bit. And you play through this entire encounter. Just like all of the normal encounters, whoop, here we go, first boss already. All our normal raid encounters, there's a lot of story to be told as well. So there are definite story segments that are involved with this. And each one of these stages represents the types of things that people would expect out of raid encounters. So you're going to see a lot of different things happening, like, for example, all of these ads on this sub-boss that's going on here that normally as one player I wouldn't be able to deal with. But because I'm a GM, I can go ahead and kill my way through this really quickly. So we're going to go ahead and kill that. And one of the things we try to do is in between each stage, we treat it sort of like pulls in a raid. So we give players a little bit of breathing time so they can fall back like I did and recoup, and the story will progress and things will continue on. So in this case, he's opening up more portals, summoning more minions. This second stage is kind of a little bit more warm-up, killing some hard monsters, but not anything significant in terms of very difficult bosses. So I'm going to kill these spider guys that are fighting me here. And once again, cheater me. Going to make quick work of them using ever so popular kill commands and move on. So one of the nice things about these raids is these are kind of pocket encounters. Each raid has a sub-boss and a boss, sometimes two bosses, and these are just like normal raid bosses. So they have all the challenge and difficulty you'd expect from an instance boss with all sorts of special mechanics as well. A well-trained group that has done the encounter before could potentially do it in 30 minutes, no problem. But players who are first figuring it out for the first time will have hours of gameplay out of each one of these raids. So here we are at this point. I've gotten to my first sub-boss, which is on stage 3. This is where the first challenging portion of the raid rift comes in. Not only do you have to beat the sub-boss and you'll get rewarded with loot, but if you don't beat it within a certain period of time, the story will stop here. So this is an additional challenge for 10-man groups. So they'll obviously be able to kind of beat this boss, get a lot of raid loot, but if they don't complete it, they can't continue to push on. So it's a double layer challenge, and we're still tuning the exact values on this. You'll see throughout this encounter fairly standard raid mechanics, things that people expect. Like this boss, for example, is protected as long as these idols are up. So you've got to split your forces between the various ads and dealing with the idols and also taking care of the boss. Me, because I'm super powered, I'm just going to go ahead and blow through this real quick. As with all other Rift events, Rift raids also have a variety of different things you can interact with in the game world as well, which allow you to get power-ups and buffs and stuff as well, which kind of gives you a bit of an advantage if you know how to play the encounter correctly. So we're going to blaze through this. Kill that guy. Kill these guys. I'm actually going to skip ahead to killing the boss because I think if I don't kill him, these things are going to continue to be a thorn in my side. So I'm a little snared here, going to try and get back out of danger. And once again, we want to give people breathing time in between each of the stages so they have an opportunity to regroup as such you would do with a normal pull environment. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and kill this cute little thing here. And so I'm going to come into the final boss. Like I said before, this is actually still a raid that we're working on, so it's not quite finished. So this particular boss goes through all the different similar mechanics to all of the other sub-bosses you fought throughout the entire encounter, as well as his own special fight at the very end. He would be a little bit bigger in real life, but since we are on our alpha server right now, he's a little bit smaller than one would expect. I'm going to teleport around here. Get my back to the big stuff because I know otherwise he's going to do some nasty things to me. And once again, cheater is me right through the encounter. These are honestly not this easy. In a lot of cases, he's turned me into a plant, now he's going to stomp on me. A lot of these encounters are actually quite difficult. Players on our alpha servers and are currently getting through them in our first try. Like I said, they take a number of hours for people to complete. And we've only had a few people complete them all at this point. And I am really stuck, trapped within this plant. So I'm going to kill this plant and get me out of there. And I'm going to run over here so he can't do that again. Or maybe he will. Once again, this would be useful where I had friends. Unfortunately, I don't have any. So now I'm going to go ahead and kill him. And when he dies, obviously, the rift goes away, you've won, and your group would get rewarded. On a normal server, giant treasure chest would appear here. You can go ahead and open it up and get all your fat purple loot and distribute it amongst your raid. Anybody else that's kind of joined in would get a little token reward as well, some more planerites, some more currency, and so they feel like they've gotten something for their effort. All right, and we'll bring out my cute little pet in the meantime as well. So the other thing to note is you can see that I am actually using some raid reward items that we haven't shown before, like neat air-themed short sword here, or the ever so popular flaming bow that I have on my back. So there are lots of interesting things for players to go out and get. The next stop on our tour here will be showing a little bit of our instanced raid content, which is currently tuned for 20 players. So we're going to go ahead and jump ahead to there. And this is Greenscale's Blight. Greenscale is one of the 6 dragons within the game. He is the Dragon of Life, and this tells an entire story. This kind of wraps up the story of Greenscale and of the Elf War, Prince Hylas, and the Cult of Life. So here we are in this instance. As you can see, it's a rather interestingly large cave. Not really sure what's going to go on here, so I'm going to move ahead forward. We'll zoom out a little bit as we do. And we'll move up to Prince Hylas. And like all good bad guys, Prince Hylas has a couple words to say before, you know, everything gets thrown down.
I've come too far to allow the likes of you to meddle with my plans. My lieutenants shall make quick work of you. To arms!
So he's banished me away here, and while I'm banished, I turn around, and the next thing I know, an entire hedge mage has spawned where that once big open room is. That's one of the nice things about our dynamic content is it's not just for outdoors, it's for instances as well. So this entire area shifts and changes as you fight through it. Every time you complete a boss, the maze reforms itself and you have to fight through to another area. So it's a way of doing a very interesting environment without necessarily having to have a extremely massive space. Once again, because I'm a cheater and I don't really want to worry about the puzzle, I'm going to fly way above it, take a look down so everybody can see, you know, how the current maze is laid out. And since I know where that first boss is, I'm going to turn around, fly over here, and drop on in and say hi. All right. So once again, like I said before, this is a 20-man encounter. Generally speaking, all the types of things that you'd expect from various raid encounters will happen here. I'm kind of cheating my way through. Most of our 20-man encounters, for a good group that knows what they're doing, it may take them a few hours. But for groups that have never done this before, this is potentially days of content as they try to puzzle out each one of these encounters. And I'm only really going to show you a little bit of this first encounter, as well as playing through just a little bit of the end encounter as well, so people can kind of see what's going on. And maybe I should make myself visible first. There we go. And so this first encounter with Duke Lataris is all about good raid management. So this is kind of your first intro to making sure you're not unorganized, so to speak. So he starts out very easy. He's a fairly simple and straightforward mechanic, but eventually as you fight him, he'll start doing crazy things like massive whirlwinds that will deal damage to your entire group. He'll start running around so you can't keep a tank on him unless you attack these little slimy shamblers to put tar pits out to slow him down so you can catch up. He calls a number of his friends, as you can see off in the distance, that'll continue to nuke you, and trust me, if you do not deal with them, there will be quite a bit of them and make your encounter that much harder. But once again, since I'm a dirty, rotten cheater, we're going to move on through this real quick. And we're going to kill the Duke. And once again, when I kill the Duke, there's a slight period of stunning. My loot is right there for me to get, and the maze changes around me. Once again, this is a late beta version. The maze actually grows up and kind of morphs in release, but we're showing you guys an early build as a sneak peek. And like I said before, all sorts of interesting loot is in here for players to get. So, once again, since I'm a dirty, rotten cheater, I'm going to go ahead and skip ahead And I'm gonna, let's see, look over here. And should be a giant door off in the distance. Where are you, giant door? No, that's the door I came in. And I don't think that's the door I want. Yes, that is the door I want. So I'm gonna go ahead and fly through here and give you guys a peek at Greenscale. So as I mentioned before, Greenscale is one of our dragons. And so the story behind Greenscale, not to spoil it, is, as always, Regulus has his hands in things, and Greenscale is trapped here, and his power is being siphoned away. So obviously, not only do you want to kill the dragon, but you want to keep Regulus from getting more powerful. So we should do something about that. And just to make sure I'm not giving away any secrets about the encounter, I'm going to kill my way through this real quick. And we're going to see here Greenscale break free of his prison. I'm so hungry. And then, of course, we'll continue to engage the dragon. And as you would expect, the dragon has all sorts of nasty breath weapons, tail swipes, big cleaves. He has lots of friends that'll come help him. Obviously, he's the dragon of life, so he's going to spawn all sorts of creatures and structures and things to assist him in his battle. And I'm going to go ahead and continue to fight him. Eventually, he'll take off and start flying around the room while you deal with additional encounter ads, and he'll do his thing. The nice thing about our dragons is each one of our dragons is a kind of unique beast. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom in on him here so you guys can get a better look. And each one of them has a unique art style to them. They're not your traditional fantasy dragons. Each one is based around their particular theme and plane. This is Greenscale, the Dragon of Life, obviously. And not all of our dragons are flyers either. In fact, we have a couple of interesting dragon designs that people will see post-launch that we're really looking forward to showing you guys. Oh, and in the meantime, I was getting beaten up by the hit squad over here. Ouch. So once again, one person, not so good at this. I'm getting a bit abused. So we're going to go ahead and kill these guys off. And I don't want to spoil the ending for you guys, so I'm going to leave Greenscale flying around the room here and take a quick jump back to Terminus where this all started. All right. For those of you who have played Alpha and Beta, you'll recognize the Resurrection Forges where everybody starts out. So that's a quick preview of our raid content. As I mentioned before, we have a number of raids available. There'll be at least 5 Rift raids available at launch for 10-man. Greenscale's Lair will be our first 20-man instance, and we have a number of other instances players can unlock as the game progresses. So within the first 30 to 60 days, there should be more than enough raid content for even the most hardcore raiding guild to keep themselves busy with.